All right, it is Halloween, spooky season, the day of all days. Well, depends what you celebrate,
Happy All Hallows Eve to all
Right.
our saints and those souls that have passed and all of the lives in between.
And then we've got a party on the Day of the Dead.
Yeah, I love to cop out our spooky season.
And today is also Diwali, the Festival of Lights.
Diwali or Diwali?
It's spelled Diwali, but I'm pretty sure it's said Diwali.
Okay, so the Office show
Has that scene with Kelly
Mindy,
Kapoor's family.
Yeah, okay.
Her name's Kelly Kapoor in that
In the
show.
show, obviously.
Not
But
Mindy Kaling.
is the representative and the participant of
the writer, the actress,
Yeah,
the comedian,
yep,
the everything.
the-
She's a superstar.
The reason why I know of Diwali or Diwali, how Michael Scott has introduced it to me, but really it's because of Mindy Kaling and all of the
Yeah, and I could
individuals
also
in the
be
team.
wrong too. So
I mean, hey, I listen.
that's where I
to
learned
white
it from
fucks
another
just
Hindu person. But
participating in life. Call us
Yeah.
out if you have to. Do it kindly, because like if you want to just take out your opinion on people,
look, it's not my
whatever.
religion, so I don't know it that well. But I'm
We
also
always
trying to
love
be
learn
respectful.
new information. It's kind of that we're
Yeah.
just here to have a good time and learn something new. Learn something new every day. I'm Madison, by the way.
Yeah, Madison Jessica, the
That's
host of our
me.
show.
Yep, or Maddie J, depending on the day.
Oh, you've got different personalities.
Yeah, I think it really just kind of shows up depending on the minute or the situation that warrants it.
Oh,
Kind of like
okay.
your L proof.
L proof.
L proof.
The proof is in the pudding.
It's kind of that though. Or Dr. Biz, but L proof is what I was going for.
You always want to say that one. Your rolling R's is so awesome.
Thanks for something. It was the one thing that I could somewhat do in my Spanish 2 class, and we'll just call it that. I also had a gringa professor, so
it shows.
Absolutely. It was our Spanish conquest was to go to mezcal and order in Spanish, bro. I'm telling you, it was rural days.
Yeah, white people judging
I
white
can't even
people
fucking
Spanish.
believe that I got out. I mean, like, God bless everyone from no matter where they're at, but choose to travel a little bit just to see how much more life is going on outside of a very small time frame.
There's the very real cost of living barrier for people.
Sure.
Most people in small towns can afford to live off of very little, and be somewhat kind of comfortable.
Well,
obviously it's a stretch.
I guess what
but the moment you introduce traveling somewhere else where you've got like way higher cost of living and the restaurants are 10x, the groceries are 4x, the gas is 3x.
It makes you go back home and appreciate where you live. Absolutely. If you end up having kids to suffice for other happiness, then it makes that like dream of travel very unrealistic.
Yeah.
So that is a huge barrier. You're right that people tend to trade off in those rural spaces.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to have extra income to be able to set aside for that type of trip.
Well, and fucking life is just expensive in general. So, like, I can't even say that it's not fucking pricey.
Oh, I know. We're going through it.
Yeah, I mean, we're from Michigan to Missouri was such a huge blessing to my pocketbook and also my taste buds from the fact of, like,
yeah,
AA's cuisine does not have anything but fucking salt and pepper, maybe.
Hey, but
garlic it's spicy. But let me give a hot take.
We want people to go stay at our Airbnb, so don't trash your good. Instead, how about for today's recommendation corner, you share where you would eat in Ann Arbor?
That's the thing I was gonna get back to. I joined in 2019, and it was just a different world. Now going back, it's 2020
fucking changed Ann Arbor. So wild.
It for sure did. And
it's
now
spurred like a whole ton of investment in real estate development.
Food. We're literally all at home.
I don't know if we've gotten a better investment in food.
I think that there's a little hidden gems everywhere. Union Hill is good.
Union Rack.
Union Rack, thank you. Union on the Hill is where we love to go.
That's a KC staple.
There's synergies everywhere. When you hear Salina, Kansas, I just think Saline, Michigan, which is just like the little sister city outside of Ann Arbor. Fuck, it's just, I don't know. It's weird going through life and driving through. It feels kind of like
Splinter.
No, I'm just playing with wire.
Oh. I didn't see the wire at first. I just thought it was one of your mini rings.
It was part of my costume for ISMA. I was basically like forming the wire and then was trying to get support on the inside of it because it wasn't big enough to hold the fucking like
the plume,
but it's not even feathers. You would think it was feathers, but it's not feathers. So anyway,
it's a silk plume.
Yeah, the wire boning in it basically, and this is the remnants of it. So I was.
Now you're just fidgeting. It's the equivalent of your fidget spinner for you.
Did you get a stitch? Is that what you said?
No, splinter.
A splinter.
It looked like at first a splinter, like a wooden one. Now it looks like a metal splinter. Like, what were you doing? Some sort of metal shaving project?
One of my favorite physicians,
grinding.
Dr. Zilu, asked if I had a splinter on my nose. He saw my nose ring, and I was like.
No. My teacher just stapled it one day when I was misbehaving in class.
So funny. And like I've only ever taken wire. It's this same wire, and I've just like gone around my nose because the rings are too like wide, and it just like looks like kind of like a bull ring. So I just like kept it close. That being said, I was like, I think it was red at the time, so it just looked more like a cut on my nose. And I was like, oh, and then I literally changed it out. I'm pretty sure that weekend to this color because, gotta upgrade just for other people's sake. I don't need other people to like look into my face more than they need to.
Do you think you'll keep the nose ring forever?
Unless it like needs to come out for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might add more to it. I might add less to it.
Nice.
It's funny that you asked about the nose ring because I was asked about it.
Well, you brought it up. It's not funny.
Well, the nose was, she was like, is the nose worse or she asked if my conch was done. And I guess I didn't realize that's what the piercing was called.
Oh, yeah.
But essentially like the inside
it's called the magic conch.
Yeah. I summoned the conch when I was like a junior in high school, and
SpongeBob and Patrick formed a circle around you and chanted.
Yeah, I was downstairs just hanging out, watching some probably diners, drive-ins, and dives, and then dived into. So
Guy Fieri joined into the circle with
always.
SpongeBob
He's always
and
in
Patrick.
The background. That fiery head is.
I mean, they're both fry cooks, so.
I love it. I picked up needles, hollow point needles, after I learned the Claire's needle. Like hearing only gets you so far, and you can only push it through so much tissue. So I bought real needles, and then after doing the ones on the side here,
they're like easy.
Yeah, I basically was like, I wonder what it would feel like here, and then I went on the inside, and then I didn't realize there was 2 layers of cartilage, and that's what I said. Long story short, to the woman in CVS who did my flu shot. She was so cool. I hope she got her shark tattoo and it was all good. But
you're only gonna tell that part of the story.
I don't know how.
It's Halloween. What else? When else are you supposed to talk about spooky season things?
Other than I got there a little bit early, got my had the baddest bitch flu tech or lab tech do my flu shot, and I was essentially like this, and I was like, shit, sorry, forgot I wasn't wearing a bra. Anyway, we're just vibing. And she's like, usually I got people that just go full dress, undressed. And I was like, yeah, normally that's after hours and people pay for that.
I know.
Sure. Why would you? Essentially she sticks me And then she was the one that asked, did your nose piercing hurt more than your conch? And then I realized that that's what that piercing was. Long story long at this point. And then she was like, I can't wait to get my next piercing tattoo. I'm getting a shark with flowers. And then I was like, oh my God, sharks are my spirit animal. Yeah, with like going through like a maze of flowers, like a sea of flowers. It's probably more accurate. And then I asked what type of shark she was getting. And then she had another lab tech grab her phone so that she could show me, which
it was a lemon shark, right?
No,
hammerhead.
So those are, I would say she said it was a great white. It could be a great white from above. It could just be like a blue shark, or it's just a nondescript shark body from the top in a bed of flowers, which is gorgeous. And she basically said, I was like, what's your favorite shark then? Because that's my favorite question as a follow-up. And she said lemons to start, which is funny because you want to get a lemon bite shark.
Well, you wanted to get matching you wanted to get matching tattoos, so you decided were shark bites.
Well, you said you wanted a bite, BYTE, and I thought that was cool. You said that for me, and I was like, well, I'm going to get a regular shark bite, but you should do the BYTE because that feels like you. And that is what stemmed into our couple tattoos other than our actual tattoos.
Yeah.
Branded for life. Woohoo. Forever until death do us part or the finger goes off. All right, then I would be limited to having 9 fingers with rings, and that would just be sad.
Well, rule of threes. 3, 3, 3.
Yeah, it's something. I like the idea of being able to flip people off, though, and you can do it.
You don't get a middle finger if you only have 4, because the middle is in the middle of 2 fingers now.
Exactly, and then you go Spock mode, and that just seems silly. You
can't even
go Spock mode. It just doesn't work out, Anywhere.
So you recommended Union Rack. Are there any other places in Ann Arbor you would eat?
I want to say Mooney, but I know it's not that. Casey. But Monty.
Oh, Monty, yes.
Monty's
I actually had that
great,
same Freudian slip while I was doing our receipt scanning the other day because we went to Monty when we were in Ann Arbor just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was so good.
And then we went to Mooney when we came back. So they're like not that far away in my receipt. Like
oh my God, my brain
Monty.
hurts.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird how you find like the spots that
they're not the same at all.
No,
one's
they're
an Italian, but next door to Monty is Isolita, and Isolita is probably more comparable to Mooney.
Isolita's fucking good.
But it is not a fusion Mexican spot. It's just more Mexican.
Yeah.
Upscaley, but delicious. The queso fundido there is the
prime choice. Listen, if you're not going out with people who are not willing to share food with you, then what's the point? It's so sad if you don't get to try little bites of all of the different fun, exciting foods.
Yeah, absolutely. If that's what you're into,
For sure.
I'm really only into very specific foods, and so there's plenty of appetizers. I'm like, I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
You guys can get it though, for sure. Just I'm gonna eat more of the other ones if you get those.
It's basically if I want shellfish, mushrooms, or anything veg heavy-esque, I wait until we go out with friends. That is just the long story short of that.
Yeah, just because it's easier to get them to split it. I mean, I like bruschetta.
And variations of tomato with bread.
Yeah, lots of tomato and onion opportunities.
Now, I guess you've come a long way on
tomato and onions go into a lot of things. Some garlic.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, are you White Lotusing here? I'm forgetting her name.
Jennifer.
Yeah, Coolidge.
Yep. Yeah. God bless her. God bless America because of her. No, I was just thinking about the tomato that we picked up at the market up at River Market.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the
Farmers
best.
Market fresh is really actually
Holy
noticeably that much better
shit.
than anything you can get in a grocery store.
Not all, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Oh
an
my
asshole, you
God.
know, because like organic, farm to
It was
table,
$1.
but it was so delicious.
It was the
Also,
it was
what was
farm
it?
fresh tomato. It was nothing like a tomato I have had since my grandpa used to do this like 15 years ago. Like, it was so beautiful to have that. Yeah, it starts with a C.
Christina's
Yes,
Produce.
Christina's. Ooh, that's a great rack. Christina's Produce. God bless that queen and the team
the year
around her.
2000. Yeah, it's where we got it from.
Cool.
There's so many people to get fresh produce from, but produce. Anyways,
Christina's Corner.
no, Christina's Produce.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, lemons for $4 Best fucking tomato, like I said. Strawberries, a whole big 16-ounce
$1
container for $1, and they've lasted in my fridge longer than any other strawberry I've had.
And they were so juicy, just eating them on the subway stop. And
yeah,
obviously, it's not a subway; it's a train car or whatever you call
the
it.
metro. We took the metro.
It's such a stretch to call it a metro, though.
It's getting there. The Union. Oh my God, it was fucking hysterical watching the metro drop people off.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Oh God, I feel like an asshole.
Yeah. Watching people walk over to where we were sitting to go back down to like downtown, and we watched the train basically go up, stuff. Hold up the all lanes of traffic.
Okay, so sorry, we gotta position this more for the people who know. We're at the Union Station stop,
Can we
right?
It on Google Maps?
Yeah, sure. That's a great idea.
This is just some wild shit because, and the reality of it, but it was like a 5-minute ordeal for it to like.
Right, and also it didn't used to do this because it used to just happen on the same side of the street, and you just
no, it always had to go up and around to go.
No, it didn't used to have to block traffic to do it. It just did it underneath the bridge. They have another area of the track where you can do this up the road.
Sure, maybe.
No, definitely.
I mean, it's not convenient now, that's for sure.
Okay.
Dude, that's a gorgeous shot of the West End.
Yeah,
I can't wait for the ballpark to be there.
Washington Square Park. Yeah. I mean, if it ends up being there, that's wild.
Western Auto Building in the background.
Yeah.
Holy shnikes.
There's plenty of space for it. Anyways, ballpark aside, we were standing right here, right?
Zoom in.
Is that good enough? Perfect. Like, not everything's in view here.
Now it is. Everything I need.
So, anyways, we're standing right here, I think. It might
Union Station.
No, this one's here, but I'm pretty sure we're standing.
Oh, here. I hear you. Yeah, I know what you mean. Cool.
Also, here you can literally see that other track right here that I'm talking about. That track is how they get back across that they now are doing over here, right? So basically, the train, everyone gets off on this side, right? And they used to then let you get right back on, and then they would zoom over to the other side. But now what they're doing is they're taking you, making you get off, walk across the street over the other side, and then the train, without anybody on it, goes all the way across the street.
It's practicing.
And then it goes to the other side. But this is somehow the slowest process ever and blocks all lanes of traffic while it does it.
And it sat there for a minute too. That's what I don't understand.
Right, with nobody on it, like as if people are going to board over on this side, which they're not because the next stop is way up by our house at 26th Street.
Right, and so why did it, if it was going to go through and block all 4 lanes of traffic, why wouldn't it go up and back? Like if it had to, like, you know, snake back. But the fact that it waited for traffic to go through while also simultaneously blocking half of the traffic, like, we got to figure that out.
Right? I'll tell you.
That's a no bueno.
While we're here, I want to tell a second story that happened on this exact same map this year.
Fuck, I don't know if we really want to go through the ins and outs of the
it's very
Super Bowl
political.
rally. And yeah, it definitely was something that seemed like it was trying to be a political conversation piece, or was like positioned to be it. But essentially,
we were right here by these trees watching the Super Bowl celebration.
The entire
going on right
concert
here
was done. But it seems like odd that it was kind of done. Everybody was like in the station, and then like all of
these
a sudden,
people start running inside.
There was what sounded like firecrackers, but when reality was
That's
2
over
individuals shooting, and there was something like 20 children that were in the crossfires, and a woman lost her life. She was a DJ here in the Metro KC. If you want to
radio
up
station,
her name,
yeah,
because we should acknowledge that. I don't want to, for all of the lives. It's crazy how many children's lives were lost or hurt in that process. I hope none of them are lost, and I hope all of them got back home to their families safely. Because ultimately, the fact that we don't show children's names is for their safety in publications, Connor.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I'm thinking about like the nefariousness of this and how that ends up turning to, if you don't have those names on record, then how do you maintain that they like make it back to their families and they're not,
it's
in the worst case
chicken and
scenario,
egg
pulled
scenario.
into sex slavery and all of the worst case scenarios that could come from that very like traumatic situation.
Again, my answer is blockchain a little bit, but
sure.
Practically speaking, I don't know.
So 44-year-old woman and mother of
Lisa
2,
Lopez
DJ
Gallivan.
Lisa Lopez Gallivan. Galvan.
I don't know. I'm
just like, I wasn't able to see her name, and where the fuck is it really? Oh, there she is. Okay. Yeah, I would say Galvan, but I don't know for sure. Okay. 21 people were shot
and wounded.
In what felt like it was weird because they said it was 2 teenagers, and yet the names that
they were like
19
and 22.
It was 18 and 22, and there were people that were just out of
jail for other crimes,
for little petty crimes, and it just, with how well orchestrated, I saw what felt like 100 individuals, like single file line troopers going into the building and watching endless black vehicles going toward the situation, when I watched the community rally together and ultimately like go into safe zones.
The response was like well prepared and like anticipatory.
It was weird.
But like at the same time, you have to acknowledge we're having an event where 500,000 to 1 million people are expected to come into the city. They increased security for it also.
But why did no one go toward the like where the shooting was going? And
because they're protecting the most valuable people.
Sure, they were all in the building though, and they were also all in the building before any of this went down. And that's where I'm like, if a shooter wanted to make a statement, would they not go after like some of the most prized? And that's not me like calling for that either, but it just like it doesn't register why any of that would have happened.
Well, that's why people say, well, I have no idea, but they say it was a dispute. There's 2 people arguing.
Again, and I'm like, it seems really convenient to not have anyone's to continue to call them teenagers and then have them both be adults in this situation when they actively try
to kill other people.
13, 16-year-old people of color as adults for crimes that they weren't even like are not responsible for. That's a child's brain that's not fully developed until frontal lobe isn't developed until 27, right? 24, 25.
I think you're technically not recognizing what you're saying right now.
I mean, I do.
You just got upset about is why they're not doing that. In order to prevent that outcome, they're calling them children and protecting them because they were people of color and minorities, and they didn't want the news to misrepresent them so that they wouldn't end up having a biased trial, like where they would get sentenced to unreasonable outcomes because of their, like, you realize that's the overreaction might be an overstatement, but like that is the reactionary response to what you just said is what got you so upset.
I don't disagree with you. I think because they weren't actually teenagers, they lessened the conversation in the media in general because they didn't want another two people of color to be responsible for a mass shooting. But ultimately, I think that was more of people that were used in manipulation for larger ploys politically that didn't get ultimately done. I saw our Kansas City community coming together and taking care of each other in a situation where we could have turned on one another very easily. And I don't know where any of that money, the $10 million that was somewhat allocated for the relief funds, I don't know how they ended up distributing that. No one that as a trauma response, everyone sends money in these situations. So there's something like $10.9 million in relief funds to the individuals that were affected by the shooting.
Okay.
And I'm just I don't know.
Did it make it to those 21 victims' families? Because
how
that's
they
basically where that
paid out. I should hope so, but I haven't heard of anyone actually getting it. So it's just another
Yeah, but there's following up on that. What does that even look like?
What you looking at?
This is our path home.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was happy that we were able to get our friends and ourselves home safely with the rest of the individuals. People that started running were guys, what are we doing? We're not going to be targets here. Slow and steady wins the race.
Yep.
But anyway, getting back to the weekly baddies.
We bought some Jello shots right around here.
Yeah, gotta celebrate.
We finished some Jello shots right around here.
It's just so shitty that it put such a damper on such a cool day for so many people.
Yep.
Watching some guys.
This is where Joe said "fuck the police."
Yeah, because that's where we saw literally
the line
40
of all
black vehicles going endlessly into a situation where there's just endless people. What are you doing down there? What is that purpose? That's where I'm that doesn't feel.
Yeah,
feels very interesting.
Yeah, it was noteworthy to see a line of unmarked black vehicles
continuing to get ushered in through by the
back path here on Grand Boulevard
that just happened to be prepared for whatever the situation was.
Right. And again, that is their job and what I would expect them to do at a major event like that.
I mean, why not ambulance? There's no fire department vehicles. There was no police cars that were actively going lights on. None of those situations. That's where I'm what is the black vehicle?
Yeah, what are the marked government black vehicles?
There were so many of them that you couldn't even tell me that you put all of the players in each one individually and they still had too many more. You know what I mean?
Well, Taylor Swift was there.
No, she wasn't. And I don't care. She has her own.
I just I don't know, dude.
It was just very odd.
So much of our life revolves
protect
around
yourself.
this little area.
It's crazy.
I really hope the ballpark ends up here, selfishly.
Absolutely. I mean, it would be very cool to see. And I think a downtown ballpark always makes more sense. Having it right next to the metro, you could get access to parking.
Yeah.
You need to have a parking situation figured out.
It's right here.
True. You're so right. I mean, well, it's not all of it because that's not enough. But
I mean, it kind of is if you think about it.
The west side has a lot of opportunity. There's some spot within the Paseo that could be turned
Maddie, this is multiple levels of parking
opportunity.
here because
that's the downstairs part of it.
Oh, that's
the
down
part. Yeah.
That's the down part.
Yeah, that's the down part.
Well, that means that you're also talking about all the parking that's basically underneath this. Yeah. This is all parking.
Kinda, but a lot of that is like Jack Stack, and so I.
What are you talking about? Jack Stack's over there.
Honestly, I think Union Station parking would probably be a part of that ballpark.
Right, that's what I'm saying. This down here,
down below, and then that's there. And
right, this is also down below and goes underneath, and it's
still gotta figure out a little bit more, but it'll be fine.
I think okay. I think that's probably like enough parking for probably 5,000 people.
Well,
15,000 people, 20,000 people.
KC Royals stadium capacity.
Stadium parking.
Parking capacity. Well, this is not. It'll be fine. 40,000 downtown. What? That's crazy. That's how much we need. 40,000. So we'll have to figure that shit out.
Fine.
But there's
it's more
like
it's like so many places you can walk to.
It's that though, like you want to be able to go down and enjoy the whole afternoon if you're gonna do an event like this. So like you want to be able to explore.
Well, I mean that's the other thing is baseball. Is kind of just like. The Royals would get so many more people if they were in downtown because it just makes it so much more easy to go to an afternoon game casually for people oh, I'm downtown already and walking around and game tickets are $15-$20 because they are. You can just choose to do that on your afternoon. Right now, you have to go drive 25 minutes, 30 minutes out of your way. To go in the
middle of nowhere, yeah. And then
it's not in the middle of nowhere, come on, But at the same time...
20 minutes outside of downtown, and there's no restaurant.
We live downtown, so it feels like we have to go leave everything.
It's crazy.
And for a lot of people, it's like you got to drive across town, and it's like it'd be so much easier if it was just in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? And then the convenience of just popping out to the game because there's so many baseball games. It'd be like if there was a basketball team downtown. It'd be so easy to just go to. Actually, no, the cost of basketball games is so cost prohibitive. That's why no fans go to basketball games.
Really?
Well, yeah, if you look at
of them.
If you look at the fandom in Europe, the fandom in Europe is insane compared to here, but it's because our fans are priced out of actually going.
Interesting. That is fascinating. All right, well, getting into the baddies of the week because I don't know how else to transition. We got fucking Ruth Titelbaum.
Yeah.
Our girl Betty Holberton.
This is Ruth. This is Betty.
And then Marilyn Meltzer here behind me.
Yep. And we are in part 2 of the Animaniacs.
The ENIAC 6, as we have been. We'll see how good the battery in these persists, but they are lit up in the way that.
See if it's visible.
Some lights shine brighter than others.
Okay.
Don't know what else to say. I just on my fucking baby hair though.
Alrighty. So now we will tell the story.
All right.
Of the last 3 ENIACs. So the scene is Alex and Jamie are back in the same cozy library. now filled with even more books and documents. True.
So many fun OCD projects that I get so excited about. I just go ham and do 3 of them, and then I stop touching for months. Anyway.
It says the late afternoon, but it's the early afternoon. The very early. We're not even afternoon yet. We got 20 minutes to noon.
True. I was like, yeah, you got your shit going up here
I know.
soon. Sorry, we'll be there soon.
Yeah, well, we're not even worried about that.
He'll be okay.
Because we're just going to close on crushing this story. Are you Jamie? Am I Jamie? Are you Alex? Am I Alex? I do not recall.
I think I was Jamie this last time because I said I wanted to be your cousin. And you're like, I got a cousin, Alex. And I was like, yes, but different cousin. But
yeah, they're also, my cousin Alex is Alejandra. So, she's not even Alex.
Yes.
We just call her Alex.
Stretch. That's a huge stretch.
Yeah.
Anyway. That makes me feel so much better. I was kind of like racking my brain on who the fuck. I was like, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You didn't realize Alejandro was Alex? What do you call her? I didn't realize you didn't call her Alex. I call her Alex.
It's like Alex, right? Because nobody calls her Alejandra unless
we're because we call Alejandro.
Right. Right.
What's up, Ale?
Exactly.
Anyways.
So, Alex, we've covered Jean Bardick, Kathleen Antonelli, and Frances Spence. If you have not checked out that last episode, go subscribe, and fucking follow for more. But the story for the ENIAC girls wouldn't be complete without talking about Ruth Titelbaum, Betty Holberton, and Marilyn Meltzer. These women are just as remarkable with lives full of triumphs and challenges as anybody's would be.
Agreed. Let's start with Ruth Titelbaum. She's a bit of a mystery compared to the others, but what we do know is inspiring. Born in 1924 in New York City, Ruth had a natural knack, mouthful, for mathematics. They all do. She earned a degree in math from Hunter College, also where they went, which was quite an accomplishment for a woman at the time. Is Hunter College the only college for women?
I don't know. We're gonna have
women in math.
We'll have to look more into Hunter College. I guess a recommendation overall, hopefully. It's 11:41 as we say that, so probably. But getting into this, I read that she recruited straight out of college for war effort. Of course, I'm not surprised to hear that. Ruth became one of the first computer programmers, and her work on ENIACs was grueling. She specialized in calculations for ballistic trajectories. Oh, Jesus. Which were crucial for military operations. Can you imagine the pressure?
It must have been immense.
Could you imagine the ethical dilemma you have to create in your head?
Nah, you didn't think about it at that point. You were just killing Nazis.
So much. So crazy. Hunter College.
It must have been immense. The ENIAC wasn't user-friendly either. They didn't have UI UX back then. It was this massive machine taking up an entire room and needing physical rewiring to be reprogrammed. Ruth worked long, exhausting hours and had to deal with the technical and physical demands of programming under high-stakes conditions. But what's fascinating is that she persevered even when others would have crumbled.
And she worked without a blueprint. Ruth had to figure out programming concepts that didn't even exist yet. Her dedication laid the groundwork for computational methods still in use today, even though she rarely received recognition for her role. Fucking Jesus, tale as old as time. It said that she had this quiet tenacity. Quiet tenacity that inspired her colleagues. I inspire tenacious individual in general, but a tenacious baddie, no less, is so much to be impressed by.
Soft spoken, it sounds like. Now let's move on.
That.
No one would believe me if I said you were. Now let's move on to Betty. Not anyone who's met you. Now let's move on to Betty Holberton. She's one of the most well-known ENIAC women. Oh, my forgiveness for calling them the ENIAC girls the whole time. And had quite a dynamic life. Born as Frances Elizabeth Holborn in 1917, Betty was a rebel from the start. She went to UPenn and majored in journalism because the dean told her that mathematics was too hard for women.
Golly. The amount of times that I was told that in my like youth growing up is so crazy. Granted, like 1990s versus 1917, you would expect within 100 years that you'd have some sort of like growth as
Like
an
you
individual.
said, the internet is when things rapidly changed for you guys, and it just came to town at the end of high school for you.
It didn't rapidly change for anybody. It basically just made those of us that felt like we were being mind psyoped into something that wasn't real, like women
Aware
should
that
be
that's
equal
the
to
case?
men. Yeah. Aware that we were not the only ones that felt that way. And I no longer felt the need to be lobotomized, you know? So fascinating.
Oh, we can still lobotomize you if you want.
I will consider it at some point in time, but not today. Oh, I remember that story. It's so weird that Betty's name is Frances, and Frances Spence was who we covered last week. That's just like weird little cool synergies. I remember that story. Betty's refusal to be confined to societal norms really defined her career. When she joined the ENIAC project, she brought this innovative thinking that made her stand out. People say that she had innate ability to simplify complex problems, which is just a huge asset to be able to do, which made her invaluable when programming the ENIAC.
That was her journalism background, for sure. She got forced into going to have range, having breadth, and obviously it didn't stop her from being curious about mathematics and science, so she still came full circle over there, but she forced to explore a whole other realm.
Journalism's like detective work, but within literature and English, so it's like you get developed.
But being forced to articulate yourself.
I know, I was like, you develop a lexicon, as you would say.
That's my favorite way to say that, though. That's so fun.
The reality is your ability to
communicate precisely
complex problems to an individual's like 5-year-old perspective is very, very impactful.
And it's basically like what in blah 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 blah. Long story short is most engineers can't talk. Case in point.
So true.
But when they can, they're money, because it's incredibly hard to take complex ideas and make them simple and easy to grasp, because complex things are rarely simple, and you're often using metaphors as shorthands to get a concept to someone quickly that you're trying to not sabotage the integrity of what you're talking about while giving them that shortcut understanding, right? Like that balance. But that way of thinking also gives you a nimbleness and flexibility that's outside of a set of rules when it comes to writing code in particular. And so you can see a way to refactor it or to simplify it, because you're like, well, this part and this part are the same. Why are you doing that twice? And that's usually stuff that like outsiders notice, because, you know, they see things as the same that other people see as different.
Yeah.
But it's like, I get they're different. You're using them in the same way to accomplish the same thing twice. It's redundant, and you're adding a necessary complexity to your workflow.
Engineers look to be most efficient.
So right. It's always about stripping it down.
But I will say that it's the easiest thing, or it is so difficult to come up with a long, like from end to end process and get it done to completion. It's much easier to come in and
whittle it down,
critique somebody else's very long, hard history of work, and be like, you should have done this, this, and this to make it simpler. It's like, okay, the reality is like, yes, we
someone
can
has to get it down first.
But right, this is my first iteration, and this is why progress, not perfection, is.
But the people who get remembered are the ones who take the original thing and slice it down to the core essence, which is apparently what she was the best at.
And who else did we talk about last week?
Well, you do it really well was one of the things I was going to
thank
say.
I believe Kathleen Antonelli was told to have been one of the, like, we talked about her last week, so go fucking find that. I don't remember what I did yesterday. But essentially, she was that problem solver, and her husband, classic.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Her story. But the problem solving is such a, like the ability to pull from a bunch of different elements.
Range.
And yes, we get back to the book range is actually great. So that's a recommendation overall.
By Jeffrey Epstein.
Is it really?
No, I apologize. His name is Epstein.
Range.
David Epstein. I really appreciate this author's insight. I just unfortunately,
sorry, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
But that was a great book. I absolutely really appreciated it. It made me feel validated in a lot of like the multi-tool attitude where I'm just like, jack of all trades, or Swiss Army knife where I just like picking up skill sets and being able to master something new.
Jack of all trades, master of all trades. Not get at me, Aziz. I'm sorry.
Is it your turn?
It is my turn.
Cool.
And she had such a creative mind. Again, journalism. Betty developed techniques that made programming more efficient, and she eventually designed some of the first software optimization techniques. She even helped lay the groundwork for early user interface design. One thing I love about her is that she also made significant contributions to the development of Fortran and COBOL, two of the earliest programming languages. And COBOL is one of the bad bitches I recommended to you, Grace Hopper.
Yup.
And it's cool to know that she played a part in this because, of course, they did.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they did.
That's fucking cool. That is. I love it's such a small world. It's such a small, like.
Can I plug my meme coin?
Absolutely. Why not? Fuck yeah.
Cool. You guys get a Phantom wallet and go to pump.fun, right? Okay. I know that's already like what? But, you're seeing the things that I am doing on screen right now. Ask ChatGPT to give you step-by-step instructions so that you can see it for yourself. Now you can see this is me, my profile, Baregs420, founder and CEO of the Cabal. And it is
see how you changed the spelling there just to pay homage without taking ownership rights of another bad bitch's work.
Sure. It also just didn't work with like what I ended up, writing.
Choosing.
So it stands for Cult of Blockchain AI Larks, and it is a subtle nod to COBOL.
Is that an actual lark?
Yeah. Well, after I had ChatGPT make one for me that I thought was cute enough.
That's so funny. I really like the name lark.
The programming language that changed business and inspired SQL. May LLMs do the same, but let us own our data and then the AI on chain. Because this is a cult. It should feel very religious when I write it. So that's what I did. Hey. But here's our logo.
I love it.
This is Lark the Cobol.
Ollie
the Lark.
So hey, Otto Lark kind of like flows into Ollie being a nickname too. I really like Otto Lark.
I don't know, but Rich joined me as a token holder.
Cool.
So now we've got
some Phantom.
Yeah, you should totally get some on Phantom so that we're getting some traction. See, there's a little bit of action here on the chart. That's from Rich.
What the fuck is down?
So you just go to pump.fun on over here. Wait, are you down?
Only like a little bit.
Yeah. So you go to here and you go to pump.fun. There it is.
D5.
Cool. And we'll go back to the story over here.
I'm ready to pump up the jam. Pump it up.
right?
Search for token. This looks.
Well, you gotta, spam me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So first you gotta connect the
This
wallet.
feels like
It. Oh, so for our audience,
stop.
Pumped Up Fun, you have to do it. Pumped Up Fun has made $150 million since it launched in April.
That's crazy. For them or
For them exclusively.
I feel like that's more scary.
Right? Because that is just how much money's pumped. Anyways, make your account.
Okay. Jesus. All right, Maddie J, coming your way.
I kept my Pepe user logo because I'm just like, or user profile picture because why change it? So much effort.
You can change your username once every day. Great to know. Bio.
You don't really need one unless you want one.
Photo. Oh my God! Why do I gotta do all this shit?
Just click save. And then close. And close. Don't disconnect.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Now you're logged in. Now look up Cabal. COBAL. Nope.
It's been doing that all fucking day. Done. How in the fuck are all of these cat memes popping up on my goddamn thing? Right. They're all cats.
Are they all called?
Ew, taco balls?
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts. They're so. We'll buy. All right. Sure.
Oh gosh, let's go watch the chart. Wow, we got our first whale on the meme coin. Maddie, you're gonna get like probably a huge chunk of the supply.
You have to buy in early to the things that you believe. I believe Otto Lark is going to be our kid's name, so this will be his retirement fund.
Well, you better join our cult then. You heard it here first. Maddie, you're now the largest shareholder in the cult, so I think that makes you the cult leader. Funny. You took us from 1% to 3%, and you are now King of the Hill Progress 2%. We could overtake King of the Hill in the platform. I mean, we don't have any followers or watchers on this stream right now, but if we did, we could totally pump this chart. By the way, you own close to 2% of the supply.
Cool.
That is like at least 20 times more than me.
It was worth investing some of my Solana gains.
Look at you made it. You made a big green candle.
Of course. No need to make a big fucking deal about it. I just took some of my Solana gains again and diversified.
We now have a market cap of almost $5,000.
Transaction confirmed, obviously.
How many tokens do you have?
It's a decent amount. Ooh, I got some boo.
You got boo sent to you?
Yeah.
Is Milk back up?
Jito Soul is
great.
on Soul. Jito's on Soul.
Yeah, Jito's on Soul.
I was like, I don't know if I have any.
Well, at this point, we got to wrap up the show.
We
got 3 minutes.
Finish up our.
We have not finished our story. We still have one more beautiful ENIAC woman to discuss the life and background and impact of. But let's finish this one first.
Okay. So getting back into Betty Hilberton, she had an incredible sense of humor. There's a story where she tricked one of the ENIAC engineers into giving her extra time on the machine by pretending to need emergency calculations. Wow, that's such a fucking like nerdy ass thing to do. I love it. Hilberton was a trailblazer. She made sure she mentored younger generations of women, which is so important. Oh, I miss going to Mind Drive. Ensuring her legacy would continue. She won notorious numerous awards, including the Ada Lovelace Award. She had to wait decades for those accolades, though, which, you know, I'm so happy that she got that. And Ada Lovelace, of course. Are we going to get into this, or do you want to go?
Of course.
Cool.
Last but not least, let's talk about Marilyn Meltzer. Marilyn grew up in Philly, born and raised, and attended Temple University, where she excelled in mathematics and business.
I felt the flow.
She had a practical, no-nonsense approach to work, but she was deeply empathetic. Friends and colleagues described her as warm and compassionate, even under pressure.
That's important. That's huge. When she
under pressure. Did we finally get one of the accidents?
Marilyn's story is a testament to perseverance. Jesus Christ, I can't read. Dyslexia. She worked tirelessly on ENIAC's calculations, often under severe time constraints. Marilyn was known for her meticulous attention to detail, so important. And she made sure that every line of code and every connection was precise. That kind of diligence was crucial because even one small mistake could throw off an entire system.
Yeah, and it was linear programming back then. So, like...
one leads to the other, the other. That's series. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sequential or whatever. It's really touching to know that she worked so hard, often late into the night. Marilyn understood the gravity of their work and felt a profound sense of duty to the soldiers who relied on their calculations. She even said she felt it was her responsibility to make sure the boys came home safe, and that kept her going through those long, sleepless nights. What a patriot. Really,
truly. After ENIAC, Marilyn struggled to find the same opportunities as her male counterparts. She didn't even get recognized. She didn't get the recognition she deserved until much later in life, which is heartbreaking. And she never let that dim her sense of pride in what she was able to accomplish. Makes sense. But that was so common for women back then, is to basically, when the men came back from war and women were basically like told to assume the position and fix everything and make things like operate as normal. The men came back, got all of their salaries reinstated, and women were just told to, like, okay, go home. Your service is done. Go back to like anything else and no money. And you're like, what the fucking shit? Oh, and if you do want your job, you can get it for
70 cents on the dollar.
On average, but that's just a wide average for people of color and white women. About
29 cents on the dollar.
Jesus fuck.
Three of these women were pioneers, navigating a world that wasn't ready to acknowledge them. Ruth Teitelbaum was the quiet genius. Betty Holberton was the visionary rebel, and Marilyn Meltzer was the steadfast perfectionist. Together, they made history.
And they did it in a way that shaped the future of technology. Their stories remind us that sometimes the greatest contributions come from those who never sought the limelight. It's such a profound legacy. Truly.
Wow.
Nobody wants to have to speak for themselves. That's kind of the reality of it, though.
And yeah, that basically is our show this week.
Thank you so much, Anchor Island Coffee, for giving us the caffeine for today and some of the best eats.
Mm-hmm. Great breakfast, Kansas City. And also, shout out to the Kansas City people working on our road for the 5th time this year.
They don't know what you continue to need to do because you've redone the road twice, and one of which I had to pay $500 because you towed my vehicle illegally.
Our street's a one-way, right? And notorious for cars coming the wrong way down it all the time because there's a hospital, and a block or two up, it isn't a one-way. Anyways, what they've done, though, is they've funneled it into a single lane one-way that's like a little snake curve, and cars are going to jam and hit each other at some point. So we've got cameras set up outside to capture that. So stay tuned next week. So
if
potentially, I hope no one gets hurt also. But anyways.
It's kind of that.
With that, like, subscribe, follow for more. Happy Halloween, Diwali, Day of the Dead, All Saints Day, whatever you celebrate.
To your spirit friends and your physical friends and acquaintances and the evil woes in between.
And don't forget, you get an extra hour of celebration this weekend.
Ooh.
Set your clocks accordingly.
enjoy the new moon. I love you.